So part of beginning to get unstuck, you've got to decide that the behavior pattern that you have adopted doesn't work for you. You've got to change your strategies, and changing your strategy means reinventing your life.
Life is hard. For every time you have a plan, a dream, an aspiration, or a goal, do you know what happens every time you have one of those? This thing comes along called life.
Recreating you, and you have the power to do that. You can decide that you're going to change, that you're not going to be a wimp. You can decide that you're going to stand up to life. You can decide that I'm going to live each day as if it were my last. You have the power to make that decision.
The definition of lunacy is to keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So why are you doing what doesn't work?
It's never too late to begin again. No matter what has happened to you in your life, no matter what you've done or what's been done to you, it is never too late to press into a new beginning.
In life, you will always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges.
The enemies that you see today, you will see them no more. No weapon formed against you shall be able to prosper. I'm tired of doing what I used to do. If I always do what I've always done, I'll always be where I've always been. I'm going to throw it behind me.
Letting go of what lies behind. We've all got a past. Thank God we've all got a future. Don't you believe that lie that it's too late for you. Refuse to be trapped in the past.
You can't change the past, but you can interpret. You can reinterpret how you see it. For years, I was going around with a heavy load on my shoulders, feeling bad because I was adopted. You weren't given away less, you were chosen with love. Same circumstances, same event, but reinterpreted. An interpretation that empowers me. Am I making sense to you?
You can start heading in the right direction by having a brand new attitude toward life. You're hurting yourself if you're living an isolated, lonely life and living in fear of ever being involved with anybody. But you know, you really only have two choices. You can live your life disappointed, or you can have a new beginning. That's the only option.
So when you begin to look at your past, give an interpretation that empowers you. That's where I used to be. That's not where I am now. I'm growing.
There are people and opportunities that were ordained for your past that are not ordained for your future. They were right for a season, but that season can come to an end. The key is how we handle the closed doors, how you handle the people that treated you wrong. Sometimes, instead of kissing them goodbye, we smack them goodbye.
And so one of the rules is, if people are impeding your development, you sacrifice your relationship with them. It's a very, very rough rule.
If giving him a piece of your mind hadn't worked in the first 15 years, wouldn't it be a good time now to change strategies? Why are we loyal to ineffectiveness?
And you should understand this, that it was always going to be your family and your friends that would be the first ones to try and talk you out of your vision and your big idea. That's why you're supposed to live your life, focus on your intentions and do your thing.
A lot of people put success on this mountaintop and they say, I'll feel successful when I get here, when I make this amount of money, when I find this person, right? And a lot of people don't understand that success is all around them right now.
That I've decided a long time ago that I didn't want to be another man who lived and died and didn't do anything significant. There's so many of y'all that are running around that are connecting whatever your concept of what life and love and happiness is to this thing that doesn't exist. And so in your mind, you're not living until you get to that.
Therefore, becoming is not about arrival,
It's about the journey. We're committing to the journey. We're committing to the process. That's good news, because you might be in this room and you might be older in years and you might be thinking to yourself, man, my best days are behind me. Because I believe that, what that tells me is that while I'm becoming, I'm going to face problems. Our problems do not overshadow our purpose. Our weaknesses do not discount our work, and our deficiencies definitely do not delay our destiny.
The lesson of letting go is not only that external events cause us to let go, the way God changes us is transformation from the inside out. Isn't that really relevant while you're stuck inside?
You gotta grow, you gotta expand, you gotta know that you're here for a purpose. There are no mistakes. There is a meaning. Even if you haven't found it yet, you must discover it.
It first starts with decision on your part. And may I add, well, you should decide. Why let worry continue to take money out of your pocket and bank account? Why let worry any longer keep you from becoming all you can be? Why let it rob you of better friendships, better family relations, better profits, better results? It's a burden you can get rid of. Why not be rid of those sinking, nagging feelings that all is not going to be well, that you can't do it, that it won't work out for the best? Worry is undue concern that takes up too much of your mental and emotional time.
And you know what? For most people, they don't discover the meaning of their life until their life is over, or until somebody very close to them that they love is about to leave them. You don't have to wait for the pain to discover the meaning.
And so although you may believe it to be true about you, these doubts and negative thoughts you have, these were not your original thoughts. That's a powerful thing to understand, because you weren't born this way. You weren't born doubting. You were born perfect. You were born believing you were going to do something great. You were born believing you were going to do something special with your life. As a baby, I promise you, you had no negative self-talk. You had no negative self-doubt. These are external sources. There's somebody else's thoughts they gave you because of how they felt about themselves.
If you're offering words of wisdom to someone in the genuine attempt to help and they treat that with contempt, then shut up, because you're demeaning your words by throwing them away.
Self-confidence is self-trust. Self-confidence is building a reputation with yourself, that you keep your word to you, that you keep the promises you make to you. Somebody with self-confidence has a reputation with themselves that I do the things I say I'm going to do. And so the cool thing is, self-confidence is an internal game. You do not need external accolades, external admiration in order to build self-confidence. You don't need any of those external forces. It's all done internally. You control this. And you control this by beginning today to keep the promises you make to yourself. It's not good enough just to keep the promises you make to yourself. You must acknowledge it when you do it to you to give yourself credit to create confidence momentum.
Expect the constituents and the comrades to leave you and desert you after a while. Don't be upset when they don't react to your dream the way you expected them to, because they were never really with you in the first place.
Success breeds contempt. You'll know you're winning when they start hating you.
Because if you're not facing resistance, maybe it's an indication that you're going in the same direction as your enemy.
If nobody's hating you over it, it's not big enough. You'll know it's big enough when they start hating you for it. And nothing you do satisfies them. And nothing you do calms them down. That's a sign that you're getting ready to get in a net-breaking blessing.
You see, writing about events and circumstances that occur helps you to clarify exactly what is happening. When we describe life to ourselves only in our minds, our imaginations tend to feed false or distorted information about how things are, positive or negative. When we describe a situation in writing, however, we become more factual, more accurate, and certainly more realistic. Then, as we reread what we have written, we create a new picture in our minds to replace the distorted picture we have been working with. And once we finally see things as they are, rather than as we think they are, we can then see our way clear to make them better. As you begin to develop the habit of writing down your problems, recording your observations, emotions, and reactions to life's events, you will undoubtedly find yourself both posing and responding to a whole new set of questions about your past, present, and future. Why did I say that? Why does he always make me feel that way? If I follow this course, where will I be 5 years from now? As you begin to both ask and answer yourself on paper, you will be amazed at the incredible leaps in personal understanding and self-awareness you will experience. And remember, any positive change which occurs within you will ultimately manifest itself in a positive result outside of you, in your social or professional world, your attitude, your bank account, your habits, and even your appearance. Writing in your journal is one of the best ways I know of to develop more effective communication skills. As you become better at describing life to yourself, you will find that you become better at describing yourself to life. Put into more practical terms, as you become better at saying what you really want and how you really feel to yourself, you will be able to better express yourself and your feelings to others, and in return, better able to understand what others are really feeling and really saying to you.
Do you define yourself by your emotions? Do you define yourself by your status? Do you define yourself by your lowest point? Do you define yourself by your highest achievement? All of that is dangerous. Because the moment you start believing that you are what you do or you are what you went through, there's a bleeding on the inside that happens when your sense of self-worth flows from what you do and what you go through.
Write about a current dilemma you are facing. Perhaps it is a personal problem, a business matter, a family issue, or a financial problem. Whatever it is, take the time to capture it on paper the way it really is. But remember, writing out the problem is only the first step to creative problem solving and effective decision making. The next step is to carefully analyze what you have written. Here are some of the key things to look for. First, exaggerations or distortions of the truth. Are you really telling it like it is? Take another look. Perhaps your concern is making it seem worse than it is, or your enthusiasm is making it seem better than it is. Second, a tendency to blame circumstances or someone else for your problem instead of seeing yourself as the cause. You see, most of our difficulties are the result of either failing to do what we could have done or in doing in haste what we should never have done. Third, a tendency to expect circumstances, or still worse, other people to change in order for your problem to be solved. Let me remind you one more time that things get better when you get better. Passive hope never has and never will improve human circumstances. And finally, look closely for weak points in the obstacle where you might attack to bring that obstacle to its knees. It usually doesn't take much more than a few minor adjustments in either our attitude or our action plan to solve a major problem. Essentially, you must learn to view your problems like a scientist who puts tiny organisms on a slide. Examine your circumstances through the lens of the microscope of truth to see their real nature, their real perimeters, and their real composition. And two, as you examine your problem, do as any scientist would do, record your observations. You see, as you continue to refine your statement of the problem, of the way it really is, you will begin to move closer to the solution. And speaking of solutions, be sure to record the ultimate conclusion to your dilemma. If it worked well, then it is worth remembering. And if it didn't work well, as you had hoped it would, then it is even more essential to record the outcome lest you should find yourself repeating mistakes instead of learning from them. Mistakes in judgment are nothing to be ashamed of. Surely most of our personal growth comes as a result of our errors. But what is truly unforgivable is to make the same mistake twice. Every mistake has its own price tag, but the most costly error anyone can make is an error unlearned and often repeated. If something didn't work, it may be too late to undo the mistake, but it's never too late to make adjustments and revisions in your thinking. As step one for getting used to using your journal, then, I would suggest writing down problems that you encounter and recording all the steps you can take or did take to solve them, as well as their eventual outcomes.
Need a little pick-me-up today? Welcome to the new Fresh Motivation app, where you'll find daily motivation, daily quotes. Listen to your favorite speeches in the background or with a black screen, so nothing interrupts your motivational moment, where you can create your personal profile, create playlists of your favorite speeches and quotes, add personal notes, and start setting goals. Fresh Motivation, the home of motivation. Get it now for free on Google Play.
so high I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Times don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world but keep the sky on your mind. Fly.